Today, I'm bringing guys a brand new sports cards video. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down our 5 best current investments that are under $10. Now, before we get into that, I did want to say a little bit about our membership program because we've had some picks that have done extremely well. And a lot of our picks right now continue to outperform the market by quite a lot. For example, we're always ahead of what's going to be hot in this market. For example, last year we were recommending F1 Topps Chromes hobby boxes and Sapphire hobby boxes. The standard Chrome boxes for $700 to $750. The Sapphire boxes for $900 to $950. If we look at market right now, even after it's come down from the craze, we can still see hobby boxes selling currently for over $2,000, which, keep in mind, our members were buying these up for roughly $700 for the longest time. Even the Sapphire boxes are around $2,700. Our members were buying these up for $900. So just many different investments like that are way ahead of the time, and when it gets hot, our members make a lot of money. Another example is Ja Morant's Prism Blue. We spotted that color, team color prisms would start to do really well in the market. And we were correct on that as well. We recommended his Prism Blue PSA 9 for $1,750. If we look at the current market, they're around $3,100. And then players who are under the radar, such as Kawhi Leonard, during the peak of the offseason, we recommended his Prism Silver PSA 10 for around $4,900 to $5,000. They're currently already up to around $7,000 to $7,500. So definitely a lot of picks that have done really well. If you guys would like to stay ahead of the market, definitely join in on the program. The link will be down below. We have all sorts of picks from $10 all the way up to $100,000. So if you would like to join, the link is down below to sportscardsinvest.com. But without further ado, we will hop right into this video. So the first pick that I believe is going to do very well that is under $10 is Brandon Ingram's 2016 Prism. First of all, the reason I'm recommending his Prism is because in 2016, Prism was not incredibly overprinted. A lot of these Prism rookie cards have a much lower pop. And if you look at some of these prices, you will be absolutely surprised to see that a low pop Brandon Ingram Prism PSA 9 is selling for as low as $10. And ungraded ones are roughly around $10 as well. So there's a lot of growth, in my opinion, for Brandon Ingram's market in general. Now, I think, of course, the Pelicans were pretty irrelevant last year, but right now there is so much hype around Zion Williamson's card market that I believe that that's going to lead to a lot of hype around the Pelicans in general. And I still think Brandon Ingram is the best scorer on the Pelicans, and in general has a very bright future. Brandon Ingram's scoring numbers are extremely elite compared to most other young stars who people are putting a lot of money into. He can definitely give you a 30-piece, a 40-piece game, quite often if you think about it. And I definitely think that there's going to be a lot of hype around these young Pelicans. They as well have CJ McCollum, who I think is going to bring that veteran presence that they need to the team. So I definitely think there's going to be a lot of eyes around this young, exciting Pelicans team with Zion healthy again. And I think that's going to really bleed into Ingram's card market. We've seen Ingram's card market be very hot in the past, and when it's hot, the population numbers on his rookie cards are so low that prices can jump very fast. So at the same token, when he's not hot, you can see prices bleed out very fast, like we're seeing right now. So I think it's very smart to buy in right now when there's not much attention at Ingram's card market. And when there is attention back on Ingram's cards, I think these prices are going to jump significantly from where they are today. So yeah, that is the first pick. And the second pick is going along a similar lines. It's going to be Michael Porter Jr. And his 2018 Optic Holo. I know these are a little bit lower pop, but Michael Porter Jr. is a player who has been injured for a good amount of his young career, but when he's on the floor, he's playing incredibly well. And of course, the Nuggets are getting Jamal Murray back as well. I think there's going to be a lot of growing hype around this young Nuggets core. Of course, they're going to be competing in the Western Conference for years to come. They've got, Murray, Jokic, and Michael Porter, who are all three very young and very talented. I think, this is a card that's taken such a hit when MPJ's card market was very hot. These cards were going for over $60, over $70 ungraded. They're currently down to around $10, and I really just like the investment given I believe it's a more lower risk, high reward investment given where the prices are currently at. I've personally, in my experience, made the most amount of money when I buy a player when everybody's kind of overlooking them. If they've been injured or they've just had a bad season, or, there's just a lot of attention away from their cards. There's not much attention towards their cards. And when there's attention back on their cards, their prices start to soar because their prices had been so depressed. It's a simple supply and demand tactic. I mean, right now, there's not much demand for Michael Porter Jr. People aren't even thinking of him, and everyone's just kind of trying to get rid of him for some reason. So I definitely think as the season starts, there's going to be more demand for Michael Porter when he starts to play again. As we're seeing for Zion, the hype is already building up for him to make his return on the court. I think when Michael Porter makes his return on the court, we're going to see a lot of eyes back on his cards. He's a young player with a lot of potential, and people in this market love potential. People are willing to buy into players' rookie cards just for the potential that they could be the next so-and-so. So I definitely believe it's a good time to be buying up Michael Porter Jr.'s rookie cards. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and hop right into the next pick, and that is going to be Donovan Mitchell. Of course, Donovan Mitchell recently moved teams. He's, of course, now on the young Cavs that, I think are going to have a good shot in the Eastern Conference to compete for that title of the East. So I definitely think, Donovan Mitchell's starting a new chapter in his career, and I think Utah had such a small fan base that we never really saw his cards pop to the potential, that they had. And I think in Cleveland, he has a shot with Darius Garland, with Jared Allen, with just a lot of veteran presence, and on top of that, a lot of young core that is really building for the future. I think Donovan Mitchell is going to get a spark of hype in his card market, and of course, he is as elite as it gets for a young player. I think a lot of his, in general, scoring potential is going to really help the Cleveland Cavs, because I think that's what they were really lacking when it came down to the playoffs last year. They just weren't quite there, and I definitely think Donovan Mitchell is going to bring that edge that's going to take the Cavs over that hump and into, the 4th to 5th seed at least. So I definitely think it's a good time to be buying up Donovan Mitchell's cards. Right now, their cards are very depressed compared to where they were, say, last year. So I definitely think you're going to have a good amount of room for upside and not as much downside, given they've already come down so much. Without further ado, we're going to hop right into a really dark horse pick, and that is going to be James Harden and his 2009 tops. I know James Harden has been almost off the sphere of the earth recently. No one has really talked about him. The Sixers were really disappointing last season. But I know that when James Harden is healthy and when he's playing as he should, he is a top 5 to top 7 player in this league. I know a lot of people are very quick to forget when players have, a bad season or a bad few games or bad playoffs. I just think it's going to take a little bit more time than expected for the Sixers to figure out their chemistry. But when they have that chemistry, I definitely think James Harden's cards are going to greatly benefit. I understand that this pick is a little bit over $10. I still believe it's a very good investment given how low his prices are. If you guys know anything about 2009 tops, you know that the population numbers are extremely low. For example, you can buy a James Harden right now, a Topps rookie in a PSA 8 for just around $40. Of course, Stephen Curry is on another level, but I definitely think it's, worth comparing to, given they're in the same set. The same card for Steph Curry is going to be close to $900, and it's selling for $40 for James Harden. I'm not saying it should be the same price. I'm saying that's the amount of room for upside you could potentially, use to gauge the upside. So if, James Harden does have a great season and he comes back to being a top 7 player, top 10 player in this league, when there's attention back to his name, if he has a spree of 30 to 40 point games, I think we could see his Topps rookie card in a PSA 8 shoot up to at least 3 figures. I think that's not a crazy ask. I think there's such a low population and so many people selling right now that I think it's a good time to be buying in. and you could definitely see quite a lot of upside if it pans out. And I don't think there's that much downside given James Harden is already an MVP. I think there's already a good market for his cards, and his cards are just suffering so badly right now that I think there's a lot of upside compared to downside. But without further ado, we are going to hop right into our last pick, and that is going to be Jamal Murray. If you guys have been watching this channel for a while, you know I've been recommending Jamal Murray's cards. I know he's been injured and off the face of this earth for quite a while. And I just think when he comes back and healthy, and if the Nuggets have it all together, I think his cards are gonna really benefit. And I know his cards are just so low right now in terms of what the population is and what the prices are. These cards are extremely short printed, and I definitely think they're going to do very well long term, or at least in the short term when the Nuggets are back and healthy. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Once again, if you guys would like to join in on the membership program, the link is down below to sportscardsinvest.com. Other than that, I hope y'all enjoyed, and I'm out. Peace.